Okay, let's try something. A little thought experiment. It's kind of dark, I'll admit, but it tells you so much about the world we live in. I want you to imagine everything just stopping. That one thing we rely on for literally everything, just gone. 1 second, you've got glittering cityscapes, streetlights, the glow from your screen, and the next, nothing. And it's not just the lights, every single signal just dies. That constant hum of data, the web, everything that makes our world, it just stops. All you're left with is this deep, weird silence, a world we haven't known for over a century. Just darkness. So that brings us to the big question, right? How long could we, as a modern civilization, actually last without electricity? Because let's be real, when the power goes out, we lose a whole lot more than just the lights. So yeah, let's get into what would really happen. So you gotta think of the power grid like this massive, perfectly balanced machine. I mean, every single power plant, every single line has to be humming along at the exact same frequency. If one little piece gets out of sync, even for a millisecond, it can cause this catastrophic chain reaction. And that's why the grid is designed to be so fast. It has these built-in reflexes that can spot a problem and shut it down instantly, way before you'd even have a clue anything was wrong. So let's move past that first initial shock. What happens next? What are the dominoes that start to fall when you pull out that invisible foundation holding everything up? Let's walk through that first, absolutely critical day. And look, this breakdown happens scary fast. I mean, within the very first hour, the gears of our cities start grinding to a halt. And by the time you hit that 24-hour mark, the systems we think of as non-negotiable, the real core stuff, they begin to completely give out. And this is where you really see how deeply dependent we are. First, the traffic lights go out. Total chaos. Subways, elevators, they just freeze right where they are. And here's one you might not think about right away. Water. Clean water doesn't just magically show up at your tap, you know? It needs massive electric pumps. And then, communication. Cell towers start dying off one by one. Now, you might be thinking, well, what about backup generators? And you're right, critical places like hospitals and airports have them. But here's the thing, they're a Band-Aid. They're only meant to last for a few hours, maybe a couple of days if you're lucky. They are a lifeline, for sure, but that lifeline has a ticking clock. Okay, so that all sounds pretty terrifying, I know. But here's the good news. A complete planet-wide blackout, like what we've just been talking about, it's extremely unlikely. And that's not by accident, it's by design. The grid is built with layers upon layers of safeguards. See, the key thing to understand is the grid isn't just one big, fragile thing that can break. It's actually broken up into smaller, regional grids that can be cut off from each other if something goes wrong. Plus, you have those super fast automatic shutdown systems we talked about, designed to sacrifice a small piece to save the whole. And on top of all that, you have real people, engineers, watching this stuff 24/7, ready to jump in and stop a disaster before it starts. But what if the absolute worst does happen? How in the world do you restart an entire continent's power? You can't just go find a giant switch and flip it back on. The whole procedure is actually one of the coolest feats of modern engineering. It's called a black start. And a black start is, well, exactly what it sounds like. You're starting from complete and total blackness. It's the whole process of bringing a power grid back online from zero, with no outside help from another part of the grid that's still working. So here's how it works. It all begins with one special power station, usually a hydro dam or something similar that can kickstart itself without needing power from the grid. So it fires up, right? And it creates this tiny little island of electricity. Then they use that small island of power to wake up the next power station nearby, and that one wakes up the next. It's this slow, incredibly careful domino effect, bringing the whole thing back to life, piece by piece. You see the scale of this, right? It's not like flipping a circuit breaker in your house. It is a monumental, coordinated effort. It's literally like rebooting a planet. So when you walk through this whole scenario, from the terrifying collapse to the absolutely brilliant recovery, it really shows you something deep about the power we just don't even think about every day. And this, right here, is the main point. Electricity isn't just a convenience. It's not just about being able to charge your phone or watch a movie. It's the invisible circulatory system of our entire civilization. It's what gives us clean water, safe food, working hospitals. It connects every single one of us. And we just never ever see it until it's not there. So the next time you just flick on a light switch, maybe pause for just a second. Think about the absolutely incredible, mind-bogglingly complex system that makes that one simple action possible. It really is one of the greatest and most underappreciated achievements of the modern world.